welcome to Ask the Undertaker. It's an open, honest look into film service brought to you by Golden Gate Home and Crematory with facilities in Fort Worth, Texas, Dallas, Texas, and Tallulah, Louisiana. I'm your host, John Beckwith Jr., and I'm joined today by Miss Kenyatta Caldwell. And we have the pastor, A. Lewis Eaton.
Blessings on.
All right. Thank you all so much for being a part of the show. We've been blessed to have been doing this for many years, Pastor Eaton. You've been a part of this as well, from Heaven 97, 970 AM on your dial to KG GR, 1040 AM on your dial. So we've really been blessed to be able to bring this to the public. Of course, Facebook Live and so many other things out there. Now we're on our new program. So thank you all for continuing to support Ask the Undertaker. So let's get to it, you guys. What is the subject for today? Well, we're going to talk about unexpected deaths. Unexpected deaths. Now, it's interesting, you all, because most of us are Christians. You agree? You're a Christian? You're a Christian, right?
Yes.
So we're taught all our lives it is appointed once for a man to die. Is that in the Bible, Pastor? So we know if we're going to be born, and we hear the preacher say it every Sunday, good possibility you're going to die. And we talk all the time, especially as African American Christians, about dying. We're always taking Jesus to the cross.
Right.
We always said he died. You hear that every Sunday morning. And preachers say he died.
Right.
Remember that? He what? He died. We always talk about death. And we always talk about going to heaven.
Right.
So we talk about going to heaven all the time. Nobody talks about going to hell every now and then. But more likely we talk about going to heaven all the time. We talk about seeing our loved ones again. We talk about when they died, they went to heaven. And we talk about at least once a week. We show up at somebody's church or watch it online. We always talk about death. Right or wrong?
That's right.
But we still have a thing called unexpected death. Now, we've been talking about death at least once a week. We talk about death all the time. We talk about Jesus dying and rising. We talk about that. We'll say he ain't even preach yet till they take Jesus to the cross.
Right. Right.
Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
So if that is the case, we know as humans we're going to. We as Christians actually look forward to. Maybe it's just me. Do you look forward to dying? No. Don't. What about you, Reverend? Look forward to dying?
Yes, but I'm not homesick.
Oh, okay. So I'm just saying. Is there such thing as a unexpected death? But that's what we're talking about today. I believe it's going to be a great subject. I hope you agree. I want you to chime in. I want you to have questions. I'm going to allow them to ask questions. And I might even ask them a few questions. So let's get started. I believe there's three phases to unexpected deaths. Three phases. I believe there's three phases to unexpected death. So we have the tragic death.
Right.
I believe that is the first phase. Car accidents, murders. With me. You understand what I mean by a tragic situation.
Right.
So we have a cause of death on a death certificate, then we have a manner of death on a. So there's homicide is a manner of death, suicide is a manner of death, accident is a manner of death. I believe that is the first stage or one of the first things when we think about a unexpected death.
Right.
Do y'all agree with that?
I agree.
We all want to go to heaven.
Right.
We all prepare for death as Christians. But if I am murdered, it's unexpected.
Right.
If I was in a accident, it's unexpected. If I committed suicide, that would be an unexpected death. Do you agree with that? I agree. Okay. So you think that's one phase of unexpected. And you can see why someone would be unexpected of that type of death. So I'm going to stay there. I'm going to stay there for a second because we want to talk about those deaths. And I don't want to mix them with the other two phases I'm speaking of. Let's just talk about tragic, unexpected deaths. What's something that comes to your mind when I think of the tragic, unexpected death?
I think that the young kids that got killed at school.
School shootings. Unexpected deaths. And let me tell you why. And I want to just chime in on that.
Mhm.
It is unnatural
Right.
order for a parent to have to bury
That's right.
their child.
Right.
First of all, that is just not natural order of things. Children are supposed to bury their parents if they are killed in a school shooting, especially a place we think is safe. There's a lot of things I might expect for my children to get into, but I never tell them not to go to school.
Right.
I tell them don't go to a club. I tell them don't hang around friends that's no good. I tell them don't go to certain places you know that you shouldn't be, that are dangerous, but school shouldn't be one of them.
Right.
It's definitely unexpected death. Let's talk about that. Just in our lifetime, I remember our reality show, Best Film Ever, was delayed. We was looking forward to it. We had a watch party. We did all these things for Best Films Ever. You was a part of that program. And it was delayed because Sandy Hook shooting. A lot of people don't know that. The reason they couldn't show our show that week is because there was a shooting in Sandy Hook.
Right.
And we had to delay it coming out because it was such a tragic situation. They couldn't come out with a funeral home reality show and these kids were just killed because it was so unexpected and so out of the norm. What do you have to say about children being killed at a school?
Yes, that's really, when we look at it, that is really unexpected because we look for them to go to school, come home, do whatever they need to do, go back to school the next day and be safe. So that's really unexpected.
Safe. We call it a safe zone when you're in a school zone.
Right.
We're saying there's no other place they should be safe. School should be one of them. If anything happens to a child at school, that is unexpected. We're talking about the first phase of tragic death and why we consider them as unexpected death. Well, what's one of the places things you would say?
Car accident.
Okay.
I experienced it with my grandfather to be in a car wreck, and it was unexpected because you wouldn't think, he would, just be normal, as they say with old age. You normally go to rest, but him to leave tragically in a car accident, it was tragic for the whole family because we didn't expect that.
Unexpected deaths.
Right.
Tragically, accidents. Well, I can remember looking at the sign on the freeway. I believe I was on 67 on the way to work, and it said something like 2,000 and some people were killed on this freeway just this year alone.
Oh, geez.
Unexpectedly.
Yes.
Just that freeway. Now, they didn't say the ages of the people that were killed on the freeway. They didn't say children. They didn't say young adults. They didn't say teenagers. They didn't say drunk. They just said thousands of people were killed unexpectedly by an accident. How old was your grandfather?
He was 78.
78 years old. Unexpected death for 78? Yeah, if it's a accident, I don't expect for him to pass away from an accident. I mean, so many things that can happen in an accident. Tragically, he wasn't killed because a lot of times people say you're killed in an accident, right? It wasn't homicide. Was anybody charged with homicide?
No.
Right. It was an accident. And accidents happen.
Right.
And people die unexpectedly, but it is a accident. Car, planes, just recently, a plane crash.
Right.
People killed in, the bottom line, it was an accident. Trains derail. I've actually buried people that has actually been on a train and derailed. I personally buried someone that been in a plane crash. I personally handled bus crashes. I personally handled car crashes. I've handled people accidentally being shot.
Right.
Accidents are things that happen, but it happened unexpectedly.
Right.
Homicides are things that happen, but it happens unexpectedly. So let's talk about that phase. What's different in that phase than any other phase? How do I accept unexpected deaths? How do you accept when someone has been in an accident? How was that grieving process?
It's hard.
Because
you really don't find that place because you want to question. And as Christian, we'll talk, don't question it. You know, it was happening, it's destined to happen, but you just feel like something was taken from you before you got a chance to just really do other things or whatever else could have been planned. We want to say, oh, rationalize it, and it'd be our 5 stages of our grief because we in denial.
Okay. And I'm glad you went there because you went so many places with me on that. First of all, she said Christians. So, Reverend, that's you and I.
Okay.
So we speak on behalf, right, of God, and we speak to his people through the help of the Holy Spirit, right?
Right.
So we got to answer her when she says that. We have to say, yes, the Bible speaks of death. And yes, the Bible said it is appointed one for a man to die. Yeah. We can say that as Christians. But let me say this as a minister in the Christian gospel. It's okay to question God.
Yeah.
I know somewhere down the line, some preacher was dead wrong when he said, don't question God.
Right.
You're wrong, Reverend. When she said, oh, you're wrong, Reverend, we can question God.
Yeah.
Because as humans, we have questions. Yeah, that was a song, not scripture, saying you're going to understand it by and by.
Right.
No, I need to understand it right now. I'm not waiting to die to see why something happened.
Right. I
can talk to Jesus right now. I'm not waiting to get to heaven singing a song when I see Jesus.
Right. Right.
No. Like, I get to talk to Jesus right now. I can question Jesus right. And this is going to trip you out. You ready to get out? Your answer.
That's right.
I don't have to die to wait till I talk to Jesus. Question Jesus. Why, Granddaddy? Why he died from a accident, not from natural causes? Why did this happen? Why did the road turn like this? Why this didn't happen? Yeah, it's okay to question and to question God himself.
That's right.
I think he's powerful enough. I think he's smart enough. I think he knows us. That's the reason he sent his son, because he sent his son to be 100% human. So he understands us. Yeah. So that's the first part I want to deal with that. With unexpected deaths, it's okay to question God.
Right.
Don't get mad when you ask the question and you get an answer.
That's right.
Because God will answer you in his time. But can you accept what the answer was?
That's right.
Go ahead, Rabbi.
And you know, I tell people all the time, who better to ask than God?
Okay.
Man can't answer.
Okay.
So he knows all, and he has all the answers. So why not ask him?
Ask Undertaker.
You know, when you ask God, and you're not trying to be like being smart or vindictive when you ask him, you just want to know an answer. And the only person gets the answers from the one who knows the answer.
Now, Kenyatta went deep. She did 2 ways. She said, first of all, we was taught, I was taught the same as the young lady, not to question. We know that's no longer the case. Right. But there's something else you said. You said it was predestined.
Right.
As Christians, we believe God has a plan for us.
Right.
And we believe that we are predestined.
Right.
Do we believe that?
Right.
But check this out. Y'all ready? Also, the same Bible speaks of free will.
Right.
Did you know that? The same Bible is in it that says, yes, you are predestined, meaning God knows what's going to happen.
Right.
But you can be a part of what's going to happen.
Right.
That God doesn't make that decision for you.
That's right.
God allows you in most situations to make that decision yourself. So you say, oh man, this person shouldn't have been driving. Well, maybe they shouldn't have been driving. Oh, that person shouldn't have. You're right. They shouldn't have been drinking. They shouldn't have been smoking. They shouldn't have. Yeah, that was free will.
Right.
God had nothing to do with that.
Right.
God did not cause that to happen. God did not make somebody show up at a school to shoot kids. God did not cause a road not to be designed correctly. That was on the engineer. God did not do that. We all have free will, and we have consequences for our free will.
Right.
So I hope that helped you a little bit. We got to move forward even with unexpected deaths.
That's right.
I told you the first phase of unexpected death is tragic death. So easily to stay there. We know the grieving process is different with tragic deaths because I get stuck in denial. I get stuck in bargaining. I get stuck in anger.
Right.
That's where unexpected death traps me.
Right.
I'm angry that they were in an accident. I'm angry they were killed. I am angry somebody murdered them. I am angry at them for committing suicide. I am angry. And I stay there for a long time. And here come bargaining. I finally stopped being angry.
Mm-hmm.
What if I would have took his keys? What if he ain't had no business job? What if you would have gave him a ride? What if she would have went to school today? What if I give him bulletproof backpacks? What if we put metal detectors? All this bargaining.
Yes.
Unexpected deaths changes the way we grieve.
Right.
And it keeps us stuck. I call it stuck in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to get to the end, but you can't get to the end because you're stuck in the middle. And that's what unexpected deaths do for us.
Yes.
You might say, well, Undertaker, what's the answer to not being stuck
in the middle?
And this is what I'll tell you. When you know what the end looks like, you can start striving toward it. Know that depression is a normal thing.
Right.
You're thinking, I'm depressed and I must be the only person that feels this way. That is normal.
That's right.
Know that denial is normal. Know that anger is normal. Know that bargaining is normal. Know that depression is, but it's a stage.
Right.
Meaning you're not supposed to stay there. Right. You can't stay there. It's not the end. Now you've been taught all your life to complete the cycle.
Right.
Go to school, but you go to school to graduate. Don't you go to school for 12 years and flunk your senior year.
Right.
Don't you go to school for 12 years and not leave with the degree. Yeah. Don't forget why you complete the cycle. Right. Don't you go to college to play football and leave without the degree? Don't you go to college to play sports, basketball, and leave without the degree? How many times have we been told that? Don't you show up nowhere? Don't you start nothing and not finish? Grieving process is identical. Don't you start a grieving process without getting to acceptance? And you do whatever you have to do. That means get some mental help, get some physical help, get some emotional help, but you have to finish. Sometimes we have to get tutors to pass.
That's right.
Sometimes I got to get some help.
That's
As
right.
Christians, we lean on God, and it's so crazy. We keep, you've heard this scenario. We keep asking God to throw us a lifeline, and He keeps throwing you a lifeline, but you're still waiting on God.
Right.
How many times does God need to show up? Because sometimes He show up in human form.
Right.
Call
Right.
a tutor.
Right.
Sometimes He show up in a human form, call a psychologist.
Right.
Sometimes He show up in human form, call a psychiatrist. Sometimes He show up in a medicine form, called medication.
Right.
He's there. You just want to accept Him for who He is and take Him and get better.
That's right.
That's how we deal with unexpected deaths, even when it is passed away and you have been sick. Now it's interesting. You said, wait a minute, if the person is sick, wasn't I expecting them to pass away? Right. The answer is no. Because this is what we've been taught all our lives. When you are ill or sick, you go to the doctor and you get well. When you're ill or sick, you go before the elders of the church and they pray for you and you get healed.
Uh-huh.
See, a lot of times people don't understand just because somebody was sick doesn't mean I was expecting for them to die.
Right. And we have a word we use to think all sickness.
It's not unto death. Y'all, listen, you have to understand how many people that deal with people that are sick,
right,
but still struggle when they die.
right.
You will look at it and say, they were sick, but I wasn't expecting for them to. They had cancer. Do you know some people got over cancer?
Right.
That's something that they had a problem. You know, some people got over that problem.
Yeah.
Just because they was sick doesn't mean I expected them to die. Now, that's a phase within itself. Y'all, that's totally different than a homicide.
Right.
That's totally different as a suicide. That's totally different as an accident. My loved one was sick.
Mm-hmm.
God, where were you? What happened to them stripes that you keep talking about? Mm-hmm. Because my stripes, you are healed. Why my loved one didn't get healed? Why did breast cancer take her out and she walk around with a pink ribbon talking about she'll survive? Why did the doctor mess up my loved one in surgery? Yours won't down. Why did medication work for you and didn't work for them? Y'all, that is called an unexpected death. Mm-hmm. And y'all, this is one of the most difficult things to deal with. More so than the first one, which is tragedy.
Right.
Because when you have a tragedy, life understands.
Right.
People understand. Oh, my loved one was killed. Everybody understands.
Right.
My loved one was in an accident. Everybody understands. My loved one committed suicide. Everybody understands. Mm-hmm. But you tell me your loved one was sick. Okay, they were sick. And you still didn't expect them to talk to me about that. Do you know anybody that was sick, but you didn't expect them to die?
Yeah. My grandmother was sick. I didn't expect her, the illness to take her.
And how old was she?
My grandmother, she was 79.
79 years old, sick.
Right.
Now, when you told me granddaddy died from an accident, I'm like, ooh, I understand. But grandma was sick, and you still didn't expect her to. No, yeah, because that is an unexpected death. Right. And so often it's hard to convince others. Why didn't I? Because I didn't think it was going to kill them. Come on, give me something.
Yeah.
You know anybody that was sick, but you didn't expect them to die?
Yes. And I was like Martha. So she said, if you had been here,
you would have been here.
Brother
would not have died.
You know, and that jumped right straight into the stage of anger. You know, it wasn't no denial. I was angry because seeing like, yes, they were sick, but I didn't think they were sick enough to die.
Right. Unexpected. Even when, I told you different things.
Right.
Even when they were
sick.
Now, let me tell you, I was so crazy. My mom got shot when I was like 10, 11 years old. Mm-hmm. Mom got shot. I was 10. She got shot. She got shot, like tragically got shot in a store robbery and didn't die. Whole bunch of surgeries, whole bunch of suffering, but didn't die.
Right.
You hear me?
Right.
She had so many surgeries over the next 20-some years, but she never died from it. You hear me? Mm-hmm. She got sick so many times, but she never died. In 2000, Mom got sick from a gallbladder, and she died. People said, nowhere in the world, John, you didn't expect Eileen Beckwith to die. She's been sick all of her adult life. She's been sick all of your life since you were 10 years old. Of course, you expect for her to die. No, you don't understand. My mom was at work with me every day.
Right.
Every day.
Right.
She was a receptionist when you walked in.
Right.
She ran the funeral home. She was the chief financial officer. You don't understand. This one day she said her stomach hurt. She goes to the doctor. They tell her she has a gallbladder situation. She's at the wrong doctor with the wrong hospital, and they mess up her surgery. And her body got poisoned from infection from the surgery, and it caused her life. She was sick all my life.
Right.
Didn't expect her to die in 2000.
Right.
57 years old. You're not supposed to die. You survive. And you die from gallbladder.
Yeah.
Something that they take out every day. They don't even make decisions no more. Now they're making 3 little holes or 2 holes. One person they tell me they're taking 1 hole. Gallbladder's not an issue no more. You was at a hospital. You wasn't in a country somewhere. You in Dallas.
Right.
They can't get gallbladder out shit. Unexpected. Yeah. That even though she was sick, y'all, it's interesting. It poisoned her, right? But it didn't kill her immediately. So it poisoned her, and it was like she's poisoned. She has sepsis. She's not going to survive. It's like you can't keep her no more. We're going to send her to another hospital. We put her on a helicopter and took her to another hospital to die because we wasn't expecting her to. Yeah, we couldn't accept the idea she's getting ready to die. We just couldn't accept it. It was an unexpected, even though she was sick. So that's another phase, y'all. She didn't get killed. The guy tried to kill her, but it didn't work. She didn't commit suicide. She wasn't in a. She was sick. But it was a unexpected death. You ever dealt with that before? Unexpected death?
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing is, in going through that unexpected death, I still had to go through the 5 steps.
We go through that regardless. Now, what did you get stuck in the sick unexpected? This is the second phase of not the tragic, but the sick unexpected death. Where'd you get stuck?
I got stuck in depression.
Okay.
Because first of all, I wasn't expecting for her to leave.
Right.
And then I got to the point I just didn't care no more.
And who are we talking about?
I'm talking about my mother.
Your mother. How did she pass away? What's her cause of death?
Cancer.
Cancer. Cancer kills people every day, but you didn't think it would kill your mother.
No.
Okay.
You know,
because people are healed every day from cancer too.
Right. Okay. You know, it was. They had treatments, and she was taking the treatment. I said, "Oh, she's gonna be okay." But then all of a sudden, boom! It hit. She's gone. And
depression is what got you.
In depression.
How did you move on from depression? For somebody who's watching or listening, how did you move on?
I had to deal with that same issue with another level.
Okay.
And when I had to go through that, I said, I cannot just lay up here and die myself. I gotta move on.
And that's what saved you, because you saw yourself die.
Right.
What about you? Unexpected death. Sickness. I want phase 2. Sickness.
To go off of what he was saying about his mom, the same thing with my grandmother. She was a 2-time cancer survivor. And what
had cancer, beat cancer.
Got it again, and
she beat cancer twice. Y'all just knew the 3rd time, but this is what she did.
Right.
The 3rd time, it wasn't cancer. She had fought with it for a long time, cancer, and won. COVID came along with something that was and it took my grandmother away from us.
So COVID wasn't a homicide. COVID wasn't a suicide. COVID wasn't an accident. It's actually considered as natural causes, but it was still a million Americans dealt with COVID deaths unexpected. Ooh, man, I told y'all there was phases to unexpected. What grieving process when someone is sick? Where you find yourself stuck with a sick unexpected death?
I was bargaining, and I was saying if I could have been there, maybe I could have been the one to nurse her back. And ultimately, it just wasn't anything that I could have done because we were so new, we didn't know so much about it. We didn't have the medicine that we have now to help. It was new when it.
So bargaining is where you got stuck as a caretaker, because you have a license as a caretaker, but couldn't care for your own grandma.
Right.
That puts you in bargaining right there. With you work around medicine, you know a lot about medicine, but didn't know the medicine to get.
Right.
How did you move on? You can't tell somebody out there ain't went through what you went through. How did you move on from bargaining? How did you get? Are you still there?
I have my days.
What day was? How long has it been since grandmother passed?
It's been
2 years. Not very long. You talk about only 24 months. Are you still bargaining?
Some mornings I do.
Okay. Have you accepted it at all? Have you made it to the finish line yet? It's just 24 months now.
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if you said I ain't got there yet.
Well, I'm still stuck in the middle.
Still stuck in the middle. And what would be my advice to keep you? will be my advice to anyone else who's watching right now. Even when there's unexpected death and sickness was the cause, how do I move on from bargaining? What stopped me from bargaining? What stopped me from saying, I'm going to sue the hospital? I'm going to sue the doctor. I'm going to put them out of business. I can't believe they let my mama die. How do you get off of that? Now, am I mad at them? I'm mad at me. Where was I?
Right.
Why didn't I get her to the right hospital at the right time? Why did I even let them take her there? Why did she even end up there? Y'all, I'm mad at them and now I'm mad at me. Because that's what happens in bargaining. Y'all, let me tell you what moves me from bargaining. And it's been a long time for me. It's been over 20 years for my mother. But let me say this. If I would have stayed in bargaining, I was getting ready to commit suicide. It was driving me crazy. It was affecting my health. It was affecting my way of living. It's what we call in English language brooding. Brooding is when your mind is making you think of bad things. I had to change my mind in order to move forward. I had to say to myself, my mom lived the time she was supposed to live. It wouldn't have mattered if it was a tragic death and she would have died from the gunshot wound. It wouldn't have mattered if sickness took her out. We're going to talk about the third phase in a minute. It wouldn't have mattered. My mother was not designed to be here forever.
Right.
Her cause of death does not define her living.
Right.
It was just her end.
Right.
Her birth didn't define her. She was born in Texarkana, Arkansas, not as a rich woman, one of 10 children to Bessie Overton. I'm telling you, her birth didn't define her living, nor were her death define everything she did in between. I stopped brooding about the end, and I started remembering what was in between. Is what got me through bargaining and depression. Not a long life, but it was a good life. She has such a great story of where she came from and where she ended up. Where she used to live, where she ended up living. Where she used to own, where she ended up owning. Y'all listen, she had such a great life that I just couldn't let myself stay in her death. I can't let myself stay in her birth. I have to move on to her life. And when I remembered her life, it helped me move from bargaining and depression to acceptance, because mom had a great life. A doctor can't take that away.
Right.
Gallbladder couldn't take that away.
Right.
Shooting her couldn't take that away. And that's what I had to accept, was her life, not her death, that I was going to let define her memory.
Then this is a question. Just say you dealt with a tragedy.
Tragedy was number one. Second phase is sickness unexpected. We're going to talk about the third.
Right before you got to acceptance of the tragedy, you had some loved one to pass or sick. You start the process all back over. How do you finally get to acceptance when you just dealing with one death right after another?
And we did a show, you guys, called Dealing with Multiple Griefs at the Same Time. Dealing with multiple deaths, dealing with multiple griefs. Each grief must be processed separate. I can't take mom and Michael and put them in the same grief process and say, well, while I'm grieving Michael, I'm also was grieving mama before Michael died, so I'm going to put them together and go through the process. No, I had to go through mama's grieving process, and then Michael died 11 years later. Then I had to go through his grieving process, which was a tragic death. Saw him one day, dead the next day, but it was because of sickness. And I had to go through that process. You have a question for us, producer? And then, so I have to process one at a time. And it's so crazy, you guys. It's like cooking. You got to clean the pot. You got to clean the plate. You can't leave nothing left over. Because if you leave that same grease, the other one tastes just like the other thing.
Right.
And you never process what you should have processed because you still tasting what you did before. You got to completely wash the dishes, completely clean the pot, and then start back over with the next one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I hope I answered your question. When I move on to phase 3. First phase was tragic, unexpected. Talk about homicides, accidents, and suicide.
Right.
Second was sickness, unexpected death. Yeah, you got to get phase 3. Y'all ready for phase 3?
Yes.
Age. Wow. Y'all, there's actually a thing called natural causes.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. They still unexpected.
Right.
Who knows? Sometimes people just wear out. And y'all, we still expect great grandmama to live. She was so strong. She's 90. She was so strong. She was 89. But you don't understand. She ain't never been sick a day in her life. You don't understand. She was in her right mind. You don't understand. Sickness didn't take her out. She wore out.
Right.
She wore out. Anybody know anybody that wore out? You know anybody that lived so long they just wore out? Some people have families that live to 100.
Right.
Some people have families live to like 90-some years old. Y'all, sickness ain't what took them out. It wasn't sickness. No. It wasn't tragic. They just wore out. And it's interesting, it still was unexpected. Right. You mean there was 90 years? I tell you, I expected them to die. I thought they were going to live. Yeah. Because they were so strong. I just knew they would bury me. They buried everybody else. Right. Because they feel they no friends there. Right. Guess why? Because they don't live all of them. Ain't no relatives that come with us. Yeah. They don't bury all of them. Now, there is an unexpected death even with old age. A lot of times people will blow that off. If I tell you my loved one got killed, you'd be like, okay, I understand. You got to understand that. If I tell you my loved one was an accident, I understand. My loved one committed suicide, I understand. My loved one was sick, I understand. What you mean you over agree with somebody 90 years old? You had your mom for 50 years. I had mine for 33. You over here tripping. You had your mama for 70 years. Right. And I had mine for 33. And you over here talking about what? Yeah, I won't even look at you the same. Right. I'll start thinking that you ain't dealing with an unexpected death, but I'm dead wrong. Because you didn't expect for them to die, even though they were of old age. That's right. It still was and I can still get caught up in an unexpected grief. A lot of people don't think that. Sometimes we'll make the mistake of thinking that people are not dealing with an unexpected death when somebody has lived an old age. Right. You don't have to say something. You have to think about how blessed you were to have them so long. Right. Hold on, Cam, I needed them a little longer. I don't care when they died, at what stage of my life they died. I didn't want them to, I need them for the next stage. So it was unexpected for me. Yeah. So you can't tell me just because somebody is a certain age that I should expect with them to. You know who gets up and do that to folks all the time? Yeah. And me. Undertaker. I'm always walking up to folks saying, I know you're gonna die. Let me take a step. This person ain't got long. And y'all, the reason I do that is that's my way of preparing myself for the grief I'm about to go through. I got to, you guys. I got to look at everybody like you're going to die. Because if I don't, I'm going to get stuck in bargaining. I'm going to get stuck in depression. I got to treat everybody. I'm just trying to help somebody. I treat everybody like they're going to die. I can remember walking to my mother in the I was a junior in high school. And I knew this little girl that sold flowers. I liked her very much. And I would buy a flower from her every day just to try to impress her with my $1 I had. And I would bring that flower to my mom. And I gave her flowers every day my entire junior season. When she died, and I would say this to my mama, when you die, I'm not going to cry. Because I gave you your flowers while you was yet up. I was preparing for my mama death way before her death. My daddy died. Check this out. Not tragically, not homicide, not suicide, come on, y'all. Not sickness didn't take my dad out. They said, well, you wasn't sick. Yeah, Dad had a stroke 20-something years ago. It was just time for Dad to, it was 80. He was 80. He was tired. But my dad would do something like this, y'all. You go by and visit, you know, you can check here, check what it is. How you feeling today? He'd be like this. He'd be like, what's wrong with you, Dad? Why you keep going? He's like, I'm going to heaven. You ready to go to heaven like today? I'm leaving. I'm gone. And we'll be like, man, don't be talking about that. Don't be saying that.
Right.
What's wrong with you? Not feeling well. He'd be like this. Now, how many do that? Quite often, because he was ready to what? He was ready to die, y'all. We didn't think he was going to die. That's what you mean. I'm telling you, 80 years old, stroke. Y'all, listen, 2 weeks before, he was just fine.
Right.
He was there. He was doing good. Right before his 80th birthday, he was doing just, but he was tired of his 80th birthday. He was so tired, y'all. He wouldn't even look at us. He would sleep most of that birthday party. We all partying, everybody showing up. And what was that doing? He wasn't messed up with us. He was not messed up with us, you guys. He was tired. The day he passed away, Kenyatta called me and said, hey, listen, your dad's heart rate is really low. It's too low. I can't wake him up. She calls me. She wakes me up to tell me she can't wake up my dad. So I jump in the car, Jack, and I run over to Kenyatta and Dad. Dad gets her, Kenyatta gets him ready, puts him on an ambulance, and take him to the, what did you expect?
Well, so be leaving you.
Because that's what we've always done. We've always brought Dad back home.
Right.
He always goes to the hospital. He always rides the ambulance.
Right.
But this time, he didn't come home. It was unexpected. I'm in the emergency room with my dad. They're out in the waiting room. And the nurse come out to tell y'all better come back because he's not going to be alive in another 5 minutes. And they all screamed at me. They all hollered at me. What you mean? I said, you know, Dad's passing away. Caretaker. Unexpected. Jackie. Unexpected. Y'all was in the emergency room with me. And it was still, he was 80. He'd been having a stroke for over 20 years. But it was still unexpected. And that's something, y'all. Those are the phases of, how much time do we have produced? Those are the phases of unexpected deaths, tragic, sickness, and even up in age. We just don't want to let them go. Is there ever an expected death? And I'm going to say no. I don't believe there is such thing as an expected death. When I went to the emergency room, my father, and they said, his heart rate is really low, he just had a heart attack. They said, we're going to bring in a cart, we're going to do the crash cart, we're going to pump his heart, we're going to put him on oxygen. I said, no. Nobody back there with me. I didn't have to have nobody else's opinion. I just said, no, you're not going to do that to him. You're not going to break his ribs. You're not going to give him CPR. You're not going to chop something down his throat. His last minute on earth won't be torture.
Right.
Ain't going to happen, guys.
Right.
I have family accepted right then that Dad was going to pass away. But I had to hurry up and get there.
Yeah.
And if I didn't, what would I let them do?
Everything.
They would have tortured him. His last minutes on earth, his last hour on earth would have been tortured. Now, there's a reason why they have no resuscitation. People say it all the time. Listen, if I'm at a point where I can't come back, why are you breaking my ribs?
Right.
Why are you pumping on me like I'm a football player in the middle of a football field? Yeah, that makes sense. He's 20-some years old. 80-year-old. You're going to cause more damage then.
That's right.
You're about to hurt him more than he's at peace right now. Let him die in. Did you want to be resuscitated?
It did say here.
Did you want to be resuscitated?
No.
See what I'm saying? You need to put that in writing.
Yes.
You need to say no resuscitation or resuscitation. You guys, I am 56. Resuscitate a 56-year-old. When I get 80, maybe not.
Right.
How old are you? Resuscitate a 37-year-old. Good possibility her ribs gonna heal back. She might can survive a CPR. Me, maybe you.
No.
You ain't trying to get your ribs broken. You know that got to hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's just me. Y'all, there's no such thing as an expected death, but there is acceptance even of a unexpected death, and that's the reason we had this show today. We want you to accept tragedy.
Right.
We want you to be able to accept sickness, and we want you to be able to accept age because it just happens. That is life. It is appointed once for a man to die. We don't know if it's going to be tragic. We don't know if it's going to be sickness. We don't know if it's going to be old age, but it is going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless Jesus comes back. We've been talking about that for over 2,000 years.
Yeah.
Unless he comes back, we are going to pass away. And I can guarantee you there will be somebody in your family, someone who loves you, that will be honest.
That's right.
Dealing with grief.
That's right.
And we don't want anyone to get stuck. So treat everybody like they're about to die. Turn to the person, turn to your neighbors, Undertaker was in the preaching, and tell them, I'm expecting you to die. Kenyatta, I'm expecting you to die. And when you die, it won't be unexpected. If I love you, I need to tell you, if I appreciate you, I need to tell you, Pastor, I expect you to die.
Right.
If you die today, tragically, sickness, or by old age, it won't catch me. I'm expecting you to die. I don't know where, I don't know when, and I don't know how, but I am expecting you to die.
Right.
So I'm going to start treating you like it's your last day. I'm going to treat you like this is your last hour. I'm going to treat you like this is the last minute I have with you. Am I going to argue with you in your last minute? Am I going to argue with you at your last hour? Am I going to argue with you in your last day? So stop doing that. Am I going to have a disagreement with you on your last minute, hour, day? Am I going to? No, not going to happen when I start treating you like it's your last. So I'm never caught on. You might go to school and may not come home. Kiss your kid before they leave. They might go to work and not come back home. They might go to the hospital and not come back home. We don't know.
Right.
You just don't
know.
So never get caught unexpectedly.
Wow.
Always expect death to happen to your friends, to your relatives, to the people that's close to your co-workers. Expect death. Yeah. Since we expect death, we need to prepare for death.
Right.
Since we're expecting death, we need to what? Prepare. Give me how many minutes I have to tell them how to prepare for what I'm expecting. In 5 minutes, this is how you prepare for what you're expecting. I'm expecting to die, therefore I'm expecting to have some type of service. I need to come in pre-plan that service.
That's right.
Because I'm expecting death.
That's right.
Death will not catch me unexpectedly. Not me nor my family. Not only am I expecting me to die, I'm expecting for my family to die. And the ones I'm going to be responsible for, not only am I going to pre-need for me, I'm pre-need for you too. Because I have a right to do that because I'm expecting your death. I know you're healthy right now. I'm still expecting your death. Because there's 3 different ways you can pass it away. You got not only that, I'm going to put some insurance on you. Because guess what? I'm expecting your death. I'm about to invest into your death. When you die, I'm going to take care of your income because I'm expecting your death. When you pass away, I'm going to take care of your children because I'm expecting I'm still send your kids to college because I'm expecting I'm going to pay all your bills because I'm expecting third phase. You need a last will and testament because you are expecting what you put on your last will and testament, Pastor?
I'm telling.
What are we going to do with your stuff? What are we going to do with your clothes? What are we going to do with your house? What are we going to do with your car? What are we going to do with your stuff?
I put it all in writing for what my daughter needs to do with everything.
Because if you don't,
it'd be chaos and confusion.
There you go. Chaos and confusion when you start unexpectedly people to die. Now, if I expect for you to die, I need to have a last will. If I expect for me to die, I'm going to have people who don't prepare. It's because they don't expect to die. People don't even want to talk about expectation of dying. So you keep putting people in situations that are unexpectedly dealing with grief, unexpectedly dealing with your stuff. And the 4th stage is this, you guys. We talk about a living will. You're unexpectedly won't accept that people get sick. That people become disabled. That they're going to need to be taken care of even when they're sick. That's the reason we don't have living wills. But if I'm expecting that to happen, I will have a living. If I'm expecting death, I'm putting a payable on death on every bank because I'm expecting death is not going to catch me unexpected.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
That makes
So
sense.
you have to put what on your bank account?
You got to put
Sometimes beneficiary. You got to. Got to put somebody on there, because if not, that means you're not expecting. It means you think that person gonna live.
Right.
Is that a reality? That crazy, y'all. That's crazy. That you can't. Do you really expect for everybody to live forever? To the point where you don't even have a beneficiary on a bank account. You don't have a living will. You don't have a last will of testament. You don't have insurance. You don't have a pre-need, because you're not expecting death. You don't have it on your mama, your daddy, your children, or yourself, your sister, your brother, because you're not expecting. Give me a time period when I talk a little bit about who's going to be in charge of your funeral. The reason why we don't have anybody in charge of our funeral, the reason we don't have a right of disposition, is because we're not expecting that. We're not expecting that. We're not expecting no tragedies to happen, no sickness to happen, no old age. That's the reason we have no right of disposition. Right. You're gonna die from one of them, real. I guarantee you, either tragedy gonna get you, sickness gonna get you, or old age gonna get you. Expect to die. Not only you need to expect to die, I expect for you to die. I need you to tell me you're gonna be in charge of your funeral. Right. I expect for your little young self to die. Either tragically, sickness, or old age. But you're gonna die. You're gonna be in charge of. I got somebody. I didn't know who it is. I didn't know. It's okay for her to say none of your business. But you better have somebody in place. Sometimes we say it ain't none of your business because we really ain't got nobody. Good. But if you got somebody, you got somebody. The reason why you haven't told us the code to your phone yet, because you're not expecting that. The reason why you ain't told us where the insurance policy is, because you ain't expecting. The reason you ain't told us what's the combination of safety, you ain't expecting. And the reason you ain't asked your mama what's hers, or your daddy's what's his, or your sister's what's theirs, or your brother what's his, because you're not expecting anybody to. You're gonna always get caught unexpected. Even though there's an Undertaker show called Ass, for years, decades, we've been saying expect to die. No one should be caught unexpected. It's not supposed to happen. Those three phases should never catch you. Unexpected. Is this a word today? It is. Did it help you? Yeah. Don't get caught. I'm telling you, because we caught up in grandma, we caught up in mama, we caught up in brothers, we still caught up in whoever, because we live in an unexpected world, and we're Christians, and we've been given the promise that you will die. Y'all thank y'all so much for being a part of Ask the Undertaker Unexpected Death. Talked about the three phases of it. The bottom line is no one should be unexpected when it comes to death. You guys, we're going to be back here on Monday morning for the morning drive with the Undertaker. Every Saturday morning, right here, 9 o'clock a.m. with Ask the Undertaker. May God bless you. May God keep you is our prayer.